where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and artists dream, transform, and create. Rae TV. You are listening to Miracle Moment, and I am your host, Rae Irelan. This is where trailblazing, truth-telling, provocative, and successful entrepreneurs and creatives from around the globe share their number one miracle moment that changed everything, pointing them in the direction of igniting epic soul alignment in their life and business. These renegade souls will show you the behind-the-scenes, real-life magic on how to create a world-class lifestyle of true success. I am so glad you're tuning in. I'm so excited that we're here having this conversation. So thank you for joining me. Let's arrive into this moment together. Welcome to the first episode of Miracle Moment. The podcast that I've been running is going through a shift, going through transformation. And I tend to find that I'm a very quickly changing person. I'm very grateful for it. In most cases, I'm able to create a lot, do a lot. When I feel like I want to change something in my life, I'm able to really create that change. And sometimes it feels like things change without me taking the lead, like the universe or other external forces kind of create new environments for me to grow and adapt into as I continue to evolve into my highest self. So I'm curious, where you might be, but I have a feeling that if you're tuning into this show, that you're probably kind of right there with me in the transformation, in the changes, whether you're choosing them or they're just kind of happening in life. So as I was going through some big personal internal shifts of just really like the perspectives that I'm seeing the world from, like I was wearing a certain glasses, and I put those glasses down and I put on new glasses, and I'm looking out of different lenses. And as I was producing my podcast, the Soul Aligned Show, I just got more and more clear around the pure message that I really wanted to speak about and hone in on, which already would come up almost in every single episode. So we're honing in, we're taking a microscope and looking a little bit deeper, so that way we can create more potent conversations during our time together. So it's you and me, baby. Sit down, grab your water, grab, a snack, and let's dive in. So, miracle moment. What is this? What is this miracle moment that we're even talking about? As we continue to produce the show, I'll be bringing on, oh my gosh, just the best guest, you guys. Incredible people that I've met from all around the world. And I'm really honing in on bringing people in that have experienced and have had some time to reflect on some of the miracles that they've experienced in their life. But I'm going to break down a little bit of the definition and more of the why behind this just little tweak here around miracle moment. So I see miracle moments as these divine meeting points with other people or situations or circumstances, or really just God, these like spiritual encounters where you you have this meeting and then just everything shifts. Sometimes our miracle moments, I do think, are big. They're going to totally catapult your life in a 180. And when that happens, it's like we got to be prepared. So we'll be talking about what to do for those, to be prepared for that to happen, and how to like use that momentum, because it's nothing to be scared of. It's really exciting. It's like you've been pulling back the rubber band really, really far, and so when you release it, it really slingshots. Where other miracle moments in life come in more subtle ways. And this is another thing that I want to be highlighting during this conversation with you, is that the miracle moments can be so subtle. They can be like a little whisper. And I want to help you get to the point where you get to see and experience the fullness and the richness and the wholeness of those miracle moments that are actually happening in the day to day. So let's break this down even more. I want to go with a story that maybe some of you know, that I experienced. So for instance, sometimes when I think of my miracle moment, like an amazing aha or like a golden ticket, something that was just like I was just praying for it and it came, it helped me, move through some crazy shit, whatever it was. For me, one of the biggest miracle moments I experienced was going to India on a total whim, like complete whim, on this spirit quest and just kind of being like, God, direct me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who I'm meeting, but I know I got to be here. And so I followed that really small whisper that said, just go to India in 2 weeks. Don't continue on tour. I had full management and booking at the time, full band. I was singing, playing mandolin, and we had a tour coming up. We were touring nonstop. And it was like, no, do not, do not keep going. It was like, stop and turn around, go the other direction. And so within about 2 weeks of being in India, I found myself performing in front of over 10,000 people, performing, speaking for International Women's Day. I was just speechless, honestly. And literally, I was speechless. I didn't even prepare for the speech. Had I had no idea. I remember sitting there, and there was a panel, so there was four of us, and two of the speakers were prepared. They had a piece of paper. One had multiple pieces of paper. And just totally ready. And me and one other woman that was there, Cecilia, we were both like, well, we're winging it. We really didn't know it was going to be that many people there, or that it was going to be like really like broadcasted and all sorts of stuff. But that in that moment, I was sitting up on stage behind the panel. When it was time for me, I walked up to the front, um, and was ready to give my speech. I was gonna sing like two songs, and I just remember standing there and having this moment before I spoke. I just looked out and I took a deep breath. I was shaking. I couldn't stop shaking. My heart was pounding out of my chest, and I felt like I was about to cry and scream at the same time. I just couldn't believe that I was there. It was directly out of a vision. I had been working on my visualizations, my mantras, my meditations, like that powerful morning practice day to day for many months. And one of the main things I was visualizing was myself in front of a huge audience just like this. So it took my breath away. It was a miracle, absolutely. But what I want to get to is actually that, yes, that's kind of like the big shiny miracle, but the miracles that I'm actually more interested in learning about, discovering, talking about, having conversations about are the miracles that happen before the big rah rah, before that big golden ticket comes. It's the moment when you backtrack, you go back in time and you see what was actually happening before that that led me there. What was the moment that actually maybe felt like my eyes were completely closed and I was playing a game of Twister or getting ready to hit the piñata at my birthday and people had just spun me around in circles with a blindfold on. Like that moment when you've just been spun around, it's totally dark, you hear voices all around you, you don't know where to hit, and you just take a step and you swing the bat. Like so unattached to whether you're going to hit it or not, because if it's like, well, what are the chances, right? So when I was diving into really what I wanted to highlight during our time together here, during the Miracle Moment, the podcasts that are coming, the conversations that I wanted to be having with, incredible world leaders, high level entrepreneurs and coaches, incredible visionary artists, I wanted to backtrack with them to see what was the thing that happened before, right before you maybe took that first step and swung the bat for the first time while still being in total darkness. Because I think that is actually where the miracle moment happens. It's right then. It's it's that moment of not knowing and just risking it all, putting yourself out there and seeing what would happen without having any certainty, without having any circumstances, helping along the way. So sometimes I think the miracle moment can be heavier. It can also be, the miracle moment can also be connected to the shadow self. But really, when our eyes are closed and we're listening, we are in the shadow. The light is when our eyes are open, we're seeing the light, we're reflecting the light, we're being the light. So I think there's actually so much importance in highlighting what happens when your eyes are closed, what happens in that miracle moment when you have no idea what's about to happen. What are you experiencing in that, and how do you lead yourself through? Sometimes miracle moments can be holding things like jealousy, anger, shame, competition, guilt. And it can be, how are you holding that, and what step do you take from that? So when it feels like almost everything you have doesn't matter, when it feels like there's no signs of anything working out, what do you do? What do you follow? So I want to bring up another story where I got to really experience that miracle moment. Again, like, I can think, okay, was it the time that I was in India where I received and I experienced the vision that I had always wanted? Or was it before that? Was it when I said, okay, no, I'm going to leave? Or was it actually before that? Was it in the time where I actually felt like I hit my rock bottom? So some of you might know my story, but for those of you that are new to my world, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And I'll give you the quick version. Is basically, um, a few years before I went to India, I had been in such a deep, dark place that I had gotten into um, a very depressed, anxious, manic, panic sort of state. And this was while I was touring a lot right after a show. And I just got into my car and I drove away after having a really bad experience with the woman that I was dating at the time, and my ex-boyfriend who was also there playing in the band with me. And it was just a really, really hard moment. And I put in the towel. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna get in the car. I don't really care what happens from here on out. And I ended up having a near death experience and a suicide attempt where I purposely got in the car knowing that I should not be driving right now. And I ended up um, almost driving into on the freeway into the cement wall that divided the oncoming traffic. Last minute, I realized what was happening. I realized I woke up. I realized, oh wait, this isn't me, and I pulled the wheel in the opposite direction, and it slingshotted me across the freeway. And there on the other side of the freeway was a canyon that I just went off and rolled down. Um, so I'm going to share more about the story later, but I want to just highlight, what if that moment, that rock bottom, which was really when I got in the car and said, fuck it. Like, I just don't care anymore. I can't hold this anymore. Was that actually the miracle moment? Because it put me directly on the path that I needed to take to come to the deepest realization, to experience choosing something and then deciding, oh, I don't want that choice and redirecting it. And then seeing, playing with the universe. Well, there was a cliff right there. Like there were other circumstances that I experienced from that. My car rolled. Um, so So what was that miracle moment? Where can we see that something actually shifted, something actually changed? So maybe it actually was the moment where I turned the steering wheel, right? And I said, "Wait, stop." There was also a whole conversation that I had with God during this experience, but again, I'll go into that in another episode. But I think that the more that we can see that the miracle moments are the moments sometimes when we are in our worst, sometimes when it's the hardest to understand what direction to go in or what step to take. And it might actually be a time where you feel it over and over and over again. You feel, for me, I just felt like so depressed. I felt so sad. My heart was so broken over and over and over again. And it was the moment where I decided, stop. Something else is something else has got to take. And so there's the fuck it moment, right? And this well fuck it moment is actually the moment where you decide to go all in. Like you just go like we're gonna go there. You just go booty bouncing, balls deep, champagne popping. You're like, we're going for it, right? And honestly, this is where things they just can't get any worse, right? So the only way to go from there is up. That's where you find the miracle moment. So you may be looking at others or hearing this story thinking like, well, I didn't have my miracle moment. You know, how come she got hers or how come they've gotten theirs, but I haven't gotten mine? So what I want to say is like, it's okay. The first step is to just be aware and be in this conversation. This conversation and the conversations that we're going to be having throughout this show and podcast are going to bring you into the miracle consciousness, an entirely different state of consciousness that you get to live in. So I'm really excited to break this down for you. So the first step is just to become aware that like, hey, I'm having this conversation. Um, I'm stepping into miracle consciousness, or at least this is what Ray's saying right now. Okay. Like I don't really believe it, but this is what I'm hearing. So just that is okay. That's perfect. Notice your surroundings. Start to become aware of where you're at, who you're with, what you're experiencing. The easiest way to find your miracle moment, if you haven't yet, is to actually just step into gratitude. Gratitude for what is present, and presence can bring us into gratitude. So you may have already had your real miracle moment. You're listening to my story and you're like, I get it. So like, but then what? Um, or I get it. I've had my miracle moment. Like I've had my lowest low, but I don't get it. Like I haven't seen it play out. I haven't done the show where I'm in front of 10,000 people. So if you feel like you've actually had your real miracle moment, the harder one, but you don't feel like you've seen the rewards, I want you to stick with me. I want you to stay tuning into this show. This is going to open so much for you. Um, just stay with me, stay present, stay aware, and again, tune into the gratitude for knowing that you've had that you've been through it. And I honor and bless you for the journey that you've been on and for being here still listening to this after experiencing a miracle moment that may have been tough, may have shaken you in your boots. Um, some of you also, you may have already had your real miracle moment and you've already had, the amazing reward that has come from it, but you might have not totally acknowledged or been aware or taken the time to truly celebrate yourself and where you're at. So This is going to be a place for all of it, for all of it. So I welcome you into this sanctuary, into this conversation, into this consciousness, into this frequency. Your miracle moment may be messy, and I mean really, really dirty. Every miracle moment is as unique as you are. So remember how unique you are. Remember, you're as unique as a snowflake. Like each and every one of us is so different. So, of course, our miracle moments are going to be so different, but there is a certain connection point when we can be aware and acknowledge it. And the more that you find yourself in conversations of the miracle moment, the more you tune into this show, you're listening to the guests that I have on, the more that you're going to start to see the synchronicities build around you. And it's a beautiful life to be living. It is so, so beautiful. So I'm just really excited that you're here with me. In the end, you know, we will discover together day after day that truly every moment is actually a miracle. And when we can live by these terms, then that's when we truly hit the jackpot. This is where we're going to be playing. This is where we're going to be connecting. So welcome to the miracle moment. I'm so excited to have you here. I honor you as a guest in my home, in my sanctuary, in my mind, in my conversations, in my friendships, in my partnerships, in my collaborations. And let's do this thing. I will see you very soon on the next episode. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, so you can stay up to date for new episodes coming out soon. And remember to witness and acknowledge the miracles and magic in every moment. This is Rae Irelan, and I'll see you soon.